Hello everyone and welcome back to the next lesson of our Java course. So in previous lesson we talked about the relational operators, right? And we also briefly touched base on what happens or how I should handle a way where I have to combine a multiple conditions, right? So when you want to combine a multiple conditions, your logical operators will get into the pictures. All right. So the logical operators, right? Just to ask in a very simple way, what are the logical operators, right? So the logical operators are help us make a decisions by combining multiple conditions, right? And this is a very normal situation in real life. It's not like, okay, you have only a simple switch on and off, right? There are multiple things where you have to, if even if you want to take a decision, let's say you want to go outside, it's not just a I want to go or I don't want to go. There are multiple conditions or multiple parameters which you want to basically test before you take a call that, hey, I want to go outside, right? Let's say you are going outside and you want to take an umbrella, right? What is the condition? It's not like, okay, I want to take umbrella. No, you will say, okay, is it raining? Or let's say, is it cloudy? If let's say these conditions are meeting, you probably want to take an umbrella, right? So these, when you want to combine these multiple conditions, the operators, these logical operators are actually handy. And even for computers, these logical operators are used when you want to combine multiple conditions in your programming. Okay. Now, when it comes to Java, right, there are total three different level of a logical operators in Java. Number one of them is AND operators. Okay, this is the AND operator which is used. Number two is OR operators. This is we call as an OR, and number three is NOT operator when you want to reverse the things. Now, when it comes to the AND operator, and even with the logical operators, the only thing is return value is always gonna be either true or false. These are the only two kind of option or returns that our logical operators can return to us, right? And again, as I said earlier, it's similar to in our day-to-day life. Now with and one, all right, the thing is, in order for and to return true, all the conditions has to be true. Okay, it's not you can say if this or this. So for example, if you have to combine multiple condition and only then you want to run your logic, you should be using and. On the contrary, or is something where even at least, I will say, at least one condition is meeting. So let's say you have four or five different conditions, but you want to execute your code or you want to execute your logic. If at least one of them is true, or if one of them is meeting your criteria, then you're going to use the OR operators. All right. The NOT is basically you are switching, you are flipping the value. So from these operators, yeah, right, you basically get true and false. So the NOT is basically a flip to the value. So the true becomes false and false become true when you use this NOT operator. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is let's go back to our editor and we're gonna take a kind of a deeper look into how you can use these different operators and how you can kind of combine these different logical operators to take a call. One last thing before we go to the editors, right? You can combine these operators together as well. It's not like you can only use this at a time and then notice. You can also combine and you can also combine, let's say, or you can also combine not. So in order to build a complex logics, you can combine all these three logical operators at a given time. Okay. All right, so the number one in our list is the AND operators. Okay, so we have these three operators, and I will call it as AND. Okay. All right, these are the three one. So number one is the AND, and as I said earlier, So AND operator, we want to use this operator when we want to check all the values, making sure all the values are true. Then only I want to execute the use case. For example, let's say you have to get your driving license. All right. So for driving license, you have to meet a certain age criteria. Let's say you should be 18 years minimum age, right? Then even if you are 18 years of age, you're not going to get your driving license. You have to give the your license test, right? You have to give your written test. If you meet both these criteria, you're gonna get your license, right? So in this case, you're going to use the and as your condition, because it's not saying, okay, if you are 18 years of old, you'll get your DL, right? All right. Similarly, let's say you want to go outside and you want to take a decision saying, should I take an umbrella, right? Then or you want to go outside and you want to see, okay, if it is raining and if you have an umbrella, then only you should go outside. If it is raining, you don't have umbrella, you should not go outside. So even in this case, you are combining multiple conditions, and you only basically saying yes when all these conditions or both these conditions are true. So for all these scenarios, when you want to combine these sort of conditions, you're gonna use AND operator, right? So let's take our example of this raining and umbrella. Okay, so let's say we have these two boolean values, right? Is raining, umbrella, and then you only want to go outside when if it is raining and you have the umbrella. So what you can do is, okay, and I'm going to put else condition also. I will say stay. All right, now in this case I'm saying if it is raining and I have umbrella, I will go outside, right? So it has to meet both the conditions. And in AND operator, as I said earlier, your final output will be, or the return value will be true only when both the conditions are true. So ultimately or internally, for is raining is true, right? Then it will say true and true is equal to false. Sorry, my bad, is true. So if both the values are true, only then it will say return true. Even if one of the conditions, for example, if I change this one, if one of them is true, another one is false, for AND operator, it's gonna return me false because one value is not true. Okay, even if I run this one, if you click here, it say please go outside without getting wet, because in this case everything is true and final input is true. So let's say I don't have umbrella but it's raining outside. So in this case, it will gonna tell me stay, because this become false and my final value is false. In order for it to return true, all these things within the AND operator should be true. All right. Now, the next one is the OR operator. And as I said earlier, so OR operator you're gonna use when, let's say, you want to test multiple conditions, but you want to execute your logic where at least one of the condition is true. You don't want to basically hold on executing your logic, or you don't want to hold on executing your code for in order to meet all the conditions. And it's a very common scenarios. Let's say one example. You want to basically say when I should relax. So you have a criteria that if it is a weekend or if it's a holiday, you will relax, right? But if it's not weekend or if it's not holiday, you want to work. So in this case, you're not combining two conditions and kind of making sure both are true. You're saying either weekend or a holiday, right? Not both of them. So in this scenario, you're gonna use the OR operators. So let's change this one quickly. Okay. And for this one, I'm gonna say, so I'm using these if and else condition. These are conditional statements. We're going to cover those one, but these are normal day-to-day things, right? If and else we use in our day-to-day scenarios, right? So in this case, my logic was, or my conditional logic was very simple. I'm saying I will relax if one of the condition is true. Okay. So in this case, right, it says true or false, even then it's gonna say true. Okay, so one of them is true, one of them is false. It's gonna always return true because one of the condition is true. Even if you, let's run this first. Let's say relax. Even if you switch these one, let's flip them, your output is always gonna remain same because now this becomes false, this becomes true, but eventually it's true because one of the condition is true in, or at least one of the condition should be true. Even if you change this to true, it doesn't matter because as I said, right, one condition has to be true. So this will only goes to else statement when both the conditions are false. Let's say don't, not relax, work. Okay, so you will be using and when you want to make sure all the conditions are meeting. You want to use the or when you say at least one of the condition is meeting there. Okay, the other one in our case, so okay, so the last operator in this one is the not operator. So not operator, as the name suggests, right, it's basically flip the value. So let's say you are getting an output from it's basically going to flip the boolean value. So if you are getting a value as true, if you add not operators to those one, it basically going to change this true to false and false to true. Okay, so let's say this example. I'm saying, let's say we have a boolean value and I'm getting this value as true, is tired. If I'm tired, I'm gonna say let's take a rest, otherwise I'm gonna work, right? So in this case, if you basically add this not operator, it's gonna flip those values. So even if the value of is tired is true, right, it's gonna become false. So in this case, the final value is gonna be false. Okay, because when you add not true, it becomes false, or if you say not false, it becomes true. So it's basically a flip, a simple flip. If you run this program, you're gonna say take a break and rest because this condition. Let's flip this one. You flip it and it says you can study more Java because now it's flipping it. So this eventually become true. So this condition is working. All right. Okay. So far we basically took a look into few combinations. For example, I'm just combining two values, right? But you can also combine multiple logical operators and you can combine them. For example, you can combine and, you can combine or all of them together to drive your business logic, right? It's not like you can only use and at a time, not the or, not. That's not the case. You can combine based upon your logic. All right. Now I'm going to combine this one. So let's take another look. So let's say I have these three variables. One is our previous example, which says is raining, has umbrella, and then I'm saying is warm. So based upon these conditions, I'm going to decide whether I will go outside or I will stay home. So in my case, if we look into this one, our condition is if it is raining and if I have an umbrella, I will go outside. Or if it is warm weather, I will go outside. So if you look here, there is a combination of and combination of a or. So in order to do that, we can combine our logical operators. So what we're gonna do is, let's combine this one. Okay. So what I did here is I said, if it is raining and umbrella or is warm, then I will say go outside, else I will say you can't go outside. Okay. One thing which you have to remember is the precedence of and operator is higher than or operators. Okay, which means when these are processed, your computer is gonna take higher preference or higher priority to the and operator as compared to the or operators. All right. Now, what it's gonna do is, if you see here, ultimately it will say true and false, okay, and then or true. So which eventually is going to convert, if you remember from this one, if one of the in AND operator, even if the one of the condition is false, everything become false, right? So it will become false or true. Now from our previous discussion, we know in OR operator, even if the one of the condition is true, it always gonna return me true. Okay. One more thing which you should remember is when you are combining these operators, make sure that you are using the parenthesis to drive your business logic. I added parentheses to tell my computer or my program that to process these conditions together, because I want to make sure I only, if it is raining, then I should have umbrella. So I want to make sure both these conditions are being processed together. That's the reason I'm adding a parenthesis, right? And then OR operator. So ultimately you're combining these one, right? You can also combine multiple conditions. For example, you can also say if is raining, has umbrella, and is warm, right? So you can combine these different conditions, right? You can have a multiple ands, or you can have multiple ors as well. You can say or. So there is no rule which says you cannot use this with that, or you cannot use this logical operator with the other logical operators. You can combine based upon what is your logic, what you want to try. Only thing which you should be careful is when you are using the AND condition, make sure you have the right parenthesis, just to make sure you know that, okay, this specific code within these parentheses is being executed in a single go. Okay. The other thing which probably you should be careful is when you are testing your these logical operators, make sure you are running it with multiple types of inputs, just to check the accuracy of those statements. Okay, all right. So with that, I think we have covered most of the logical operators in Java. Okay. Again, I suggest you to go ahead, practice these examples, combine different conditions just to make sure how this works, because this is one of the core building blocks, especially when you are using conditional logics, you are building your other logic. Using these logical operators will be a second nature for us. So if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribes to my channel, to these tutorials, and share this channel with others. If you have any question, feel free to drop a comment and I will be more than happy to answer those questions. Until then, happy coding and keep learning.